For my daughter's 8th birthday, my parents sent her a pink dress as a gift. She seemed happy at first, but then froze. "What is this, Mommy?" I looked closer and my hands started shaking. I didn't cry. I did this. The next morning, my parents were calling non-stop. It showed up on a Thursday. Brown box, slightly crushed on one corner. Maya's name written across the label in my mother's handwriting. The careful, slanted kind she only uses for packages and passive-aggressive Christmas cards. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Just a late birthday gift. No big deal. I opened the door, brought it inside, set it down on the table next to some leftover cereal bowls and one half-colored unicorn drawing. The usual chaos. Maya saw it and lit up. She loves mail. You could wrap a rock in tissue paper and she'd still thank you like you paid off her student loans. She was wearing mismatched socks and had toothpaste on her chin. I told her to open it. So she did. Inside, one layer of white tissue paper, neatly folded. Classic mom. She peeled it back and gasped. "It's a dress," she said, holding it up. Pink, soft. Little embroidered stars near the hem. It looked like something you'd wear to a fairy tale themed brunch or a 3rd grade piano recital. Not my style, but Maya beamed like it was the greatest thing she'd ever seen. "Wow," my husband said, glancing up from his laptop. "Fancy." "She'll grow out of it in a month," I said, but not unkindly. Maya twirled. The hem spun in a soft circle. I almost said it was sweet, and then she stopped. Not slowly, not dramatically, just stopped. She stared at the front of the dress like it had spoken, her eyebrows pulled together. "Mommy," she said, "what is this?" I stood up, crossed the room. She turned the dress around so I could see. And that was the moment. That was the moment everything inside me started to rattle. It was small, white thread, tidy cursive, centered just above the chest. Little Emily. My hands started shaking before I even registered what I was looking at. "What's wrong?" Maya asked. Her voice was quiet, uncertain. My husband came over, squinting at the dress. "Weird. Maybe they meant to personalize it and got the name wrong." "Is it a mistake?" Maya asked. "Did they think I was someone else?" She looked at me again. "Who's Emily?" I didn't answer, not out loud. Just thought. We don't speak about Emily in this house. Not because we can't. Because we know better. "I don't mind," Maya said. "It's still pretty. I can wear it even if the name is wrong." "No," I said. "You're not putting it on." "But it's fine." "You're not wearing it." I didn't say it sharply, but I didn't leave room for questions. I took the dress. Not roughly, just firmly. And I walked out. Didn't slam a door. Didn't explain. Just walked into the bedroom and shut myself in. I sat on the edge of the bed, dress still in hand. My hands were shaking so hard the fabric rippled. It wasn't the same dress, but it looked exactly like the one I remembered. Same color, same collar, same embroidered stars. They didn't save it. They had it made, and stitched her name onto it like that was normal, like that was kind. My breathing went weird. You know that feeling when your chest feels too small for the air? That. I held it in my lap like it might say something else. Outside the door, silence. Maya didn't follow. She's used to giving me space when I need it. I hate that she's learned that skill so young. I stared at the name. And here's the part I'm supposed to explain. Why it mattered. Why it wrecked me. Why I sat in a room holding a brand new pink dress like it was a live grenade. But I won't explain. Not yet. Because you'd think I was overreacting. You'd think, it's just a name. It's just embroidery. It's just a dress. You'd be wrong. That name changed everything. That dress? That was the line. After this, nothing would be the same. Not between me and my parents. Emily is my sister. But that's just the start of it. Before Maya ever saw that dress, I'd seen it before. Not exactly, but close enough that my hands remembered the shape before my mind did. There was a moment, a room, a celebration, and a dress almost exactly like this one. That's where it started. It wasn't just the name. That was the first thing I noticed, sure. The cursive white embroidery stitched across the front of the dress like a label on something factory sealed. Little Emily. But it wasn't just the name. It was everything else. The fabric, the collar, the length, the stars. I hadn't seen that dress in 20 years, but somehow my body remembered it before my brain did. Like the air shifted, like it carried something old. They hadn't bought this off a rack. They hadn't stumbled on it by chance. They had it made. Custom. Carefully. Like a memory they wanted to wear again. I sat with it for a long time. Not crying. Not speaking. Just sitting. And at some point, quietly, I thought, this wasn't for Maya. It was for them. Because this wasn't the first time they gave a pink dress to a little girl in the family and acted like it meant something. It was my birthday. I was turning 6. We had company over. Aunts, cousins, neighbors who weren't really friends but showed up anyway because my mother had a gift for guilt invitations. But no one said happy birthday to me, because Emily had just gotten into a dance group. A youth program with a name like Star Steps or Sparkle Academy. Something sparkly and big. The celebration wasn't for me. Not really. Emily came out in her pink dress, the original one, spinning like she'd been born with stage lights in her eyes. Everyone clapped. Someone took a photo. My mother beamed like she'd won an award. I stood at the edge of the room holding a juice box. At one point I walked up to her, my mom, and said quietly, "It's my birthday." She didn't look at me when she said it. "Don't make this about you." I remember walking back to the couch and sitting down. I remember thinking, oh. It wasn't the first time Emily outshined me. It was just the first time I realized I would never catch up. She was 2 years older, but the space between us felt endless. She had the kind of charm that made teachers lean in and listen. She could walk into a room and come out with everyone's admiration stuffed into her back pocket. She wasn't cruel. Not exactly. She just absorbed all the light, and the rest of us got used to squinting. I used to copy her handwriting, her posture, her laugh. I thought maybe there was a formula, and if I cracked it, I'd earn the same warmth. But no matter how hard I tried, I never learned how to be golden. Years passed. We grew up. Emily floated through jobs and cities and relationships, always landing just long enough to be admired, never long enough to take root. She didn't disappear. She just moved faster than the rest of us could track. Then she announced she was starting a brand. Not just a store, a brand. It was going to be fashion-forward, ethically sourced, high-impact, low-waste. She had the vocabulary down so well I almost believed she knew what it meant. She showed us a website with mock-ups of handmade pieces and professionally photographed samples. She said she had suppliers lined up, said she had customers waiting, said she just needed capital to scale up production. It wasn't a donation, she was very clear about that. It was an investment. She promised a full return within a year, maybe triple, depending on how quickly the second collection took off. The first payments were small, a few hundred here, 1,000 there. She was careful not to ask for too much too fast. She gave updates, screenshots, what looked like invoices, even buyer messages. Then came bigger asks. She said a boutique in Los Angeles had placed a bulk order and she needed to front the manufacturing costs. Then a showroom in New York. Then some influencer who wanted exclusivity. We believed her. My parents gave what they could. I gave more than I should have. Because she wasn't just my sister. She was the star. And when she shines, we all get a little light. Then one day she stopped replying. There were delays, missed calls, messages that said she was overwhelmed, that she just needed a little more time. Then she went quiet, and the money went with her. At first, we thought something had happened, something serious, some emergency, but nothing ever came. What did come was a letter, short, flat. It said she had moved abroad, that she needed time and space, that she hoped we'd understand. No apology, just that. And slowly, painfully, we began to understand the rest. There was no business, no production, no suppliers, no orders, just a website. And behind it, nothing. She had taken the money, all of it, and spent it. Not on the business, not on materials or manufacturing or marketing. On herself, on travel, on hotels and gifts and God knows what else. She took everything we gave her and vanished. The damage wasn't just financial, it was legal. I started getting calls about accounts I never opened, credit I never used. She'd taken loans in my name, cards, small at first, then larger. Always one step ahead. The police said it was a civil matter. The bank said it was my word against hers. The damage sat there, growing interest. My parents were broken. That's what they told me, over and over. Like if they said it enough, I might forget they were the ones who handed her the matches. I helped them. I stepped in. I picked up extra shifts, covered part of their mortgage, paid off their overdue bills one by one until my hands shook at the end of every month. And all this time, I thought we were aligned. I thought we had all learned the same hard lesson until the comments started. Maya looks just like Emily did at that age. She has her spark. Maybe she'll dance too. At first I thought it was nostalgia. Then the gifts came. The books, the outfits, the soft push toward old familiar shapes. And then came the dress, and everything that followed. I didn't react the way I thought I might. No yelling, no sharp breath. Just a stillness that settled in my spine and wouldn't leave. I picked up my phone instead, still sitting on the edge of the bed, dressed beside me like a sleeping ghost. I opened my banking app. Then another. Then another. Each one blinking open like a polite assistant asking what I needed. I canceled the grocery card reloads. I canceled the monthly transfers. I canceled the half payment I'd been making toward their mortgage. Gone. 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 It was quiet, mechanical, almost soothing, like deleting old voicemails. I didn't even pause to second guess it. My body was operating on something older than thought. I left the apps open a few moments longer than necessary, just to remind myself it was finally over. Then I stood up, folded the dress, laid it carefully on the desk in the corner, and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Maya was still asleep. My husband was up, making coffee, bleary-eyed but already in his work shirt. "You sure?" he asked when he saw me holding the dress. I nodded. "I won't be long. Can you get her ready for school?" "Of course." He didn't ask anything else. I folded the dress again, this time into a plain brown paper bag, added a handwritten note. 3 short sentences, each one heavier than it looked. "You lost one daughter. I'm the one who stayed. You just never noticed. Don't contact me again. I'm not covering your debts anymore. If you want someone to bail you out, ask Emily." The drive was quiet. Not long, but long enough for me to second guess it. I didn't. Their house looked exactly the same, which felt like a joke I wasn't in on. Same overgrown rosemary bush out front. Same cracked flower pot. Same dent in the garage door from the year Dad tried to back out too fast on New Year's Eve. I got out, walked to the porch, set the bag down. No doorbell, no passive-aggressive knock. Just me, standing there, then walking away. The first call came at 9:42 a.m., then another. By 10 o'clock, I had 6 missed calls and 2 voicemails. By 11 o'clock, I stopped counting. I listened to one of the voicemails just to get a taste. My mother's voice, sharp with disbelief. "What is this? You're returning a birthday gift? What kind of message is that?" Then my father, background grumbling. "And what does she mean, she's not going to pay anymore? What the hell is she talking about?" More calls, more texts, most of them unanswered. some of them unrepeatable. At 12:27, I picked up. I don't know why. Maybe because part of me wanted to hear them say it to my face. Or maybe I wanted to say something back. My mother didn't waste time. "You're being cruel," she snapped. "You're doing this to punish us for something that wasn't even our fault." Really? She fooled all of us. And yet you keep asking me to pay for it. She's your sister. She was your favorite. Don't be petty. That one almost made me laugh. Almost. "We lost her," my mother said, quieter now. "You know that. We lost a daughter. You didn't lose her. She stole everything you gave her and ran. So now you're going to take Maya from us too?" I sat with that. Let it echo a bit. "You don't want Maya," I said. "You want Emily. You're just trying to find her in someone else." "That's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is that I was the one who stayed. I was the one who cleaned up after her. I worked 2 jobs. I sent you money every month. And none of it was ever enough, was it?" "That's not true." "Then name one time you looked at me and didn't see a disappointment." Silence. "Exactly. You're being dramatic. I'm being done." I hung up. Then I blocked the number, deleted all the calendar reminders, rent help, grocery card, transfer for water bill. I opened a blank spreadsheet, named it Things That Are Mine. There wasn't much in it yet, but for once, it was clean. It wasn't peace, but it was mine. I thought it was over, that the worst had already happened. I was wrong. I thought the dress was the turning point, the phone calls, the blocked numbers, the canceled payments. I thought that was it. The fire burned through, damage contained. But there was more coming. The kind of more that doesn't show up until you think it's safe to sit down. The kind that creeps in sideways and makes you realize the floor you were standing on wasn't actually solid. At first it was noise. Cousins, aunts, people who hadn't spoken to me in years, suddenly finding their voice. "You really cut your parents off? Over a dress? You need to talk to someone. This isn't normal. They're your family." The texts rolled in with the same rhythm, some polite, some self-righteous, some pretending to care. One even added a praying hands emoji, which honestly felt worse than if they'd just called me names. I ignored them all. And then came the call I never expected. Unknown number, late afternoon. I was folding laundry and thinking about nothing, which was rare and nice. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Hey." I froze. I hadn't heard that voice in 5 years, but my body remembered it immediately. "Emily." "I heard you cut them off," she said. No small talk, no apology, just that. "They told you that?" "Yeah. I've been talking to them." There it was. The part they never said. The part I hadn't even thought to ask about. "You've been talking to them this whole time?" "Pretty much." "Where have you been?" She hesitated. "Around." "Around," I repeated. "You vanished. Do you know what that was like? You didn't call. You didn't message. We didn't know if you were even alive. I needed space. You needed money." Silence. I sat down slowly, socks still in my hands. I wasn't even folding anymore, just holding them like they'd keep me grounded. "You stole from us." "I didn't." "You did. You told us it was an investment. You promised returns. You had fake clients, fake invoices, fake everything. And you took everything we gave you." "I didn't mean..." "You wrecked my credit. You opened accounts in my name. Do you know what that did to me? I had to work 2 jobs. I couldn't qualify for a mortgage. I had to put everything I wanted on hold so I could pay off what you did." She breathed in sharply, but said nothing. "You ruined us," I said, low and flat. "And then you disappeared. I didn't know what else to do. Try starting with sorry." "They need you," she said suddenly, deflecting like she always did. "They're getting older. Things aren't easy. So why don't you help them?" Another pause. "It's complicated. I can't right now. Things have been tight. You were always the stable one." "Was I? You have a job, a home, a family. You're good at this." I stared at the floor. My hands had gone still in my lap. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Controlled, soft, practiced. "They don't say it, but they appreciate what you've done," she said. "I just thought you should know they're struggling." "I already know." "Then why cut them off?" "Because I'm tired." "Everyone gets tired," she said, and for a second I thought she might actually sound human. "But that doesn't mean you give up." "No," I said. "But it means I finally start choosing myself. Something you've always been great at." She didn't respond. Then, "If you want to throw everything away because you're angry, that's on you." And just like that, she hung up. I stared at the phone for a long time. Part of me had still wanted it to be different. Even now. Even after everything. But she hadn't called to reconnect. She'd called to press a button that used to work, and when it didn't work, she hung up. Just like she always did when things got hard. The next morning, a knock at the door. It was early. I was making coffee. Maya was getting dressed upstairs. My husband opened the door before I could stop him, and there they were, my parents. My mother held a cake box. My father stood behind her like a statue with tax problems. "We just want to talk," she said. "We don't want to fight." I didn't invite them in. I didn't even move. I just stood in the kitchen, coffee half poured, arms crossed. "You talked to Emily," I said. They didn't deny it. "We have. For a while." "How long?" "Since that first year she left." "So the whole time?" "She needed us. And you needed money, which you got from me, so you used mine to help her." "It wasn't like that." "It was exactly like that." My father finally spoke. "She's in trouble. Real trouble. She's scared. She's always scared. She made mistakes. But she's your sister. And I'm your daughter." They didn't say anything. "I was the one who stayed. I was the one who helped. And you let me think I was helping you." "You were." "No. I was helping her. You just didn't say it out loud." "We didn't know how to tell you." I laughed. It was a small, bitter sound. "You watched me work 2 jobs. You watched me cover your bills. And you said thank you with a straight face while wiring money to the person who caused it." "It's not that simple." "Then explain it. Make it simple. Make it make sense." They couldn't. "She's our daughter too," my mother said finally. "So am I." My husband hadn't said a word since opening the door. He stood behind me now, arms folded, gaze flat. Not angry, just finished. "I think it's time for you to leave," he said. They didn't argue. They just looked at me like I was the one who'd shattered something. And maybe I had. It's been over a year. I haven't spoken to them since that morning at the door. No calls, no texts, nothing from them, and nothing from me. I heard through someone, a second cousin maybe, or one of those family friends who still thinks group emails are a personality, that Emily came back. Apparently, things abroad didn't work out. When the money stopped, so did the stability. She's living with them now. I guess that makes sense. She always knew where to land. They're selling the house. Too much upkeep. Too many bills. It's not the first time she left them broke, but it might be the first time they noticed. I didn't ask where they're moving. I don't want to know. Maya doesn't ask about them anymore. She used to. Little things, like whether Grandma would come to her next recital. But after a while, the questions stopped. Kids know more than we think. Now it's just us. The 3 of us. We make pancakes on Sundays. Maya plays loud music while she brushes her teeth. My husband fixed the cabinet hinge I'd been ignoring for years. I sleep. Real sleep. The kind where you wake up and feel like you've landed somewhere safe. There's no pink dress in the closet, no comparisons hanging in the air, just Maya being Maya, just me, finally being something other than the one who stayed. Was it too much? Was it not enough? Feel free to leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.